This is Sean Allen here, and I just wanted to give this quick overview as a result of a meeting that I had last week on curriculum within the martial arts. And it wasn't the type of discussion that you would expect, because normally as soon as I say curriculum, I'm talking about what's taught in a martial arts school, when it's taught, what type of techniques are tested, if they're pressure tested, and so on. Notably, the meeting was with 5 other instructors on a Friday morning, all of them dojo owners, all of them with decades of experience. And not once did we talk about the type of techniques that we're presenting to our students, but we did talk about the type of difference we want to make in the life of a student. We did note that, importantly enough, when an instructor is confronted with a class or in front of a class, that person mainly focuses on the types of techniques they want to be able to teach. Whereas the students, when they're in a class, they're looking mainly at the results that they want to feel. Not necessarily the techniques they want to master, but the results that they want to feel. So, as a preamble to all of this, I talked to the instructors about 3 areas of learning, which I'll explain now, that give us a background as to the types of curriculum that I think we should be focusing on when we're teaching the martial arts. It's an addition to our normal curriculum, and it's a different way of teaching it. Let's have a look at the 3 areas of research. Here's the first of 3 areas of research that have contributed to this new system for a martial arts curriculum. The first of which is the Montessori education system. It's an educational approach developed by an Italian physician and educator by the name of Maria Montessori. And it was based on her research with special needs children, and it was characterized by an emphasis on independence, freedom within limits, and respect for a child's natural psychological, physical, and social development. Now, here's the interesting part about martial arts. In the Montessori system, there were mixed age classrooms, which is not similar to what traditional classes do today, but martial arts does this. We do have mixed ages, but we have mixed belt levels. The other one, which is important to notice, is there's a student choice of activity from within a prescribed range of options within the Montessori system. That's quite often what we don't do in martial arts, but we're going to talk about that. And there's leading on from the choice of activities, there's a discovery model within the Montessori system where students learn concepts by working with materials, for example, rather than by direct instruction. And my interest in this initially started when I heard about a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school in the United States which had focused its curriculum or its learning system on the Montessori method. More about that later on. That's area number 1, the Montessori system. The other area of interest was the theory of multiple intelligences. And as we know, our intelligence is usually measured by an IQ test. And that intellect quotient is seeming to be the focus of a lot of our traditional schooling. But Howard Gardner in 1983 proposed a theory of intelligence that differentiated our normal intelligence into specific modalities or specific areas, rather than seeing intelligence as dominated by a single general ability. He said there were 8 different criteria for a behavior to be considered an intelligence. For instance, you could be musically intelligent, you could be visually intelligent, you could be verbally intelligent, you could be logical and mathematically intelligent, and so on and so on. So he later suggested that moral intelligence might also be worthy of inclusion, which I think is a pretty good idea, because quite often it's not necessarily the intelligent kids at school who are going to be the happiest in the long run. They're not necessarily going to be the most financial ones in the long run. So we have to look at a range of other methods to be able to think intelligence is not just who can get the best score in maths. Finally, an area that I thought was of interest and helped me to be able to create a change to the way we include character development in a martial arts curriculum was the Rock and Water program. It's a social and emotional learning based program that is used by teachers and counsellors now all over the world. It is martial arts based, and it's a series of drills that lead up to, or as they say, scaffold up to discussions on what emotional lessons were learnt from a martial arts drill. And that's where our system of character development falls flat in the martial arts. We don't connect the character development talk with the previous activity from the class. So as you can see by my previous explanation with the young man hitting the pole with his head and my connection with an awareness talk straight afterwards, the two are linked. And we need to have an opportunistic approach to be able to teach character development rather than an organised approach, which is what it has been in the past. For example, this month our focus word is respect. Next month our focused word is self-control. And we can obviously say, as martial arts instructors, we do teach self-control and respect. But the most important thing is, are the students being taught in a way that is deeply connecting with them and they are making that lesson their own? They're owning the lesson, they're owning the topic of, for example, awareness, like I've talked about recently. Okay, let me give you a quick example of where I'm heading with all of this. This is an actual example of a situation that occurred in my martial arts school last year. And it shows you that our focus on character development is excellent. It's what it should be within our industry, but we're doing it the wrong way around. Let me give you an example. As you can see on the screen in front of you now, this is the area where one of our classes trains. On the left, or on the side, you can see a pole there. During one of the wrestling sessions, one of the kids rolled off the mat and onto the pole and hit his head on the pole and obviously dissolved into tears. He's 7 or 8 years of age. Now, normally, a martial arts school is going to, you're thinking, I should have surrounded that pole with foam and made it safe. Here's where the problem is with martial arts. As I sat the kids down afterwards, I said to them, the kid's name is Roka and I've got his permission to be able to mention his name in this. He's a great kid. I said, that pole has always been there. All of you know that pole is there. I could surround that pole in foam. I could have little sectioned off areas where it's too dangerous to wrestle or spar because there's mirrors or corners or whatever it might be. But there are poles in life everywhere. So you've got to be able to create a bit of awareness. And I used a technique to be able to demonstrate this awareness. And you can use this in your class. But it's important that you use this technique when it's appropriate. You don't just put it in at the end of the class because you think it's a great drill to do. Here's what I did. There were 18 kids in the class. I got them all to sit down with their eyes closed and I told them I was going to do some meditation, which I did. They're all sitting down. They're all aged between 6 and 12. As they're sitting down with their eyes closed, I've tapped one of the kids on the shoulders. He's opened his eyes and I've gone like this. And I asked him quietly to exit the room and sit outside so he could hear me. I then crept back in front of the class and said, open your eyes. I said, there's 18 kids in the class, but I've removed one of them. Which one is it? And then I just let them look around. It probably took them 5 minutes to work out which kid I'd removed. Get this, not even his sister realised that he was outside the room. Finally, someone said, Darby's gone. I said, yep, well done. I said, come in, Darby. In he comes and sits down. By the way, this had the total focus and attention of every parent in the room. And I said, it's awareness is the important skill to be able to learn here. I said, that pole has always been there. We are not going to remove the poles in your life. You knew every time you come in here who's in the class. You've got to remain aware all the time. That's probably one of the most important martial arts skills I can teach you. Now, here's where the difference in a curriculum makes a profound impact. It's not necessarily that I taught something different, but it's the opportunistic method of presenting it. Normally, the traditional martial arts curriculum means we teach techniques first and foremost, and then as a sort of an addition, an afterthought, we teach character development second. Now, if we are teaching martial arts and these students are sparring and then afterwards we give them a talk on respect or patience or focus or perseverance, and they're all valuable talks. That's what the martial arts is known for. But the student is not going to internalize it unless something has happened in the class and you can link it to whatever the event has been. In the same way that I linked the lack of awareness with this kid had with the pole and the awareness drill where I withdrew one of the kids at the end of the class. There is a whole series of these types of drills that you can look at, but the important thing is you must choose the opportunity as to which drill you will demonstrate in the class, depending on what happens in the class. Please take the opportunity to email me any questions you may have concerning the drills that we use, anything concerning the Montessori method, or most importantly the rock and water system and the multiple intelligence research that I've been doing. And obviously I'll more than happily help you and put up some more videos just like this one. Have a good day. Please take the opportunity to send in any questions you have, and I'll send up. Please take the opportunity to email me with